to order for the Cambridge Board of Trustees, our public hearing. I'm going to call to order. Proof of posting.
Let's do roll call first.
Roll call.
Okay.
Trustee Breinig.
Here.
Franklin.
Here.
Blackwood. Here. Hollenbeck. Here. Krakow.
Here.
McNally.
Here.
Agenda, or the notice was published in the Cambridge News, posted in the upper and lower levels of the Amundsen Community Center, Cambridge Post Office, Badger Bank, and the village website.
All right. Okay. We're going to start the public hearing here very shortly, but a couple of things. Number one, there will not be any give and take. It's not like we are up here and we can answer questions that the public has. This is your opportunity to speak to us and to let you know, to let us know what you are thinking. And number two, I am asking that we go with 3 minutes per speaker, and it doesn't carry over to anybody. So you must speak. It won't be you and then having time from another individual and another individual. So we're going to just do it 3 minutes per person. Otherwise, we could be here with somebody talking for 25 minutes. So that's fair to be able to ensure that everybody has an opportunity. All right. So I will call the public hearing to action here, talking about our 2025 proposed Village of Cambridge budget. Anybody would like to speak here, or just? Yeah.
So if you handed in a card and you wanted to speak about something other than the village budget, if Mark calls your name, just let us know and we'll defer it and make that as part of the regular meeting.
Okay. Some of these I can't tell. I'm going to start with Sarah Schultz. She wants to speak against something, so.
I'm going to start out, and she'll finish if I run out of time.
All right.
I got 2 copies, your short one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you want one back? Okay.
Lisa, are you tracking time? Okay. 3 minutes.
All right, thank you. Viewing the village general funds budget comparison detailed report from 2019 through 2024 provided to me by Lisa last Friday, I found several discrepancies. To start, the file contained detailed annual reports.
Yep.
Sorry?
Can you speak louder? None of us can.
Okay, I'll try.
And just for protocol reasons, since your wife didn't go before, you can, for people watching out there, can you state your name and your address?
Yes, Joe Scholes, 341 Waverly Drive, Cambridge.
Thank you.
All right. To start, the file provided contained detailed annual reports for the years 2020 through 2024. In each of these annual reports, it referenced the actual spend for the prior year. It's my understanding that the actual spend for the year should be the same between the two reports, meaning the actual spend for the 2021 report in the 2021 should match the actual spend for 2021 in the 2022 report. I found multiple instances in each year's where the actual spend on several line items did not match, and that caused the net results to not match. So that would be the top table on the printout that I gave you guys. So between 2020 and 2021, we're off by 190, the next year off by over 9,000, the next year off by almost 400, the next year off by almost 5,000, totaling about $15,000 of missing money or miscounted for money. What's the difference? Where did this money go? Now if you refer to the table in the bottom right of my print off, when I looked at the general funds report for 2023, the budget for the taxes was listed as $93,000, where every prior year was $800,000 plus, and the actual tax revenue was about $1.046 million. My best guess is that this budget number was fat-fingered, meaning missing a zero, and should have been $93,000. I also noticed that the budget balance was off by $957,000 when the net should have been zero. This is just sloppy work. Was this budget ever reviewed by the financial committee? If I were to be publishing a report like this for my job, I'd be walked out the door. Next, this report for the village has shown that we have overspent by $551,000 since 2019. So this is the table bottom left in my printout. If you go over all the years, that shows the differences that we had between the years right there. Again, this is how much the village has expenses have exceeded its revenue. Now for 2025, the board is proposing we take out a $300,000 loan because we're about $270 or so thousand dollars short from what I remember from last meeting for the projected 2025 revenues versus the proposed 2025 expenses. This is assuming we stay on budget and don't have a deficit at the end of the year, which hasn't happened for at least the past 5 years. However, to make things even more complicated, per the 2025 proposed budget that was included in the pre-reading sent out by Lisa on Friday on page 3, the actual deficit for 2022 shows $1.05 million and 2023 shows $1.76 million, totaling $2.7 million. Why would these two reports be off by nearly $2 million? I did notice that there were no numbers or values in the property tax leverage for 2022 or 2023. Is there a logical reason for this? Needless to say, I have major concerns that the village will again significantly surpass its revenue in 2025. In addition to having to pay back the $300,000 loan, we are going to be in even worse position next year. Something needs to change. Paula, during the last meeting, you stated, and I quote, "Not all of us have been here for the past 5 years. We can't be held accountable for what prior board members have done." Correct me if I'm wrong, Paula, but you have been here on the board for at least 10 to 15 years.
No, I
and Mark, I
haven't.
believe you've been here for at least 5 years, correct? The rest of you, I'm not sure.
I have
My
not
point
been on
is,
the board for
all
10 years.
I thought there was no
Turn-
give and take.
turn to
This is my turn to speak.
Okay.
All my points,
All
all you need to stop blaming and pointing your fingers at past board members. Show
Sir,
some
sir,
integrity
your
and
time-
acknowledge the mistakes that have been made and
I'm
start
gonna
working
hold
on
you
a
to
resolution moving forward.
If you can give your remarks to Sarah. Sarah, did you want to follow up here with your
Would you
husband?
like to finish? No, I've got about 2 paragraphs left. Left off right here.
Okay. Sarah Scholes, 341 Waverly Drive. My point is, all of you need to stop blaming and pointing fingers at past board members, show some integrity, and acknowledge the mistakes that have been made, and start working towards a resolution. There were several other errors, discrepancies, and concerns that I observed in these reports, but I don't have enough time to go through them all. As I stated in the last meeting, this is basic math that we all use to balance our checkbooks. It's mistakes like these that leaves me with slim to no confidence in this supposed one-time $300,000 loan. It is not going to fix our deficit issues and get this town back on its feet financially. I truly believe we need to have an outside auditor and or financial consultant come in and take a look at our books, because from what I observed during the few hours I spent digging through these reports, they're an absolute mess, and that is not a way to run a village. If any of you or anyone in the public is interested in reviewing these notes, please let Joe know, and he will gladly email you a copy of the Excel files he put together. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right. The next one here, Wesley Meyer. Wesley Meyer? It didn't say, you just said you might yield your minutes, so you're all right. Okay. All right. I'm going to go with Caitlin Evans.
Public board meeting.
Okay, so it's not this matter. Next one up, Bill Christ.
Hi, in case you don't know me, my name's Bill Christ. I live at 312 Oriole Lane. Interesting that Joe's comments are similar to some of mine. You know, in the document in tonight's packet to look at, it's an abomination. It's just unbelievable. I'm not even sure it's a legally valid document you can use. It's so screwed up. But I'll let smarter people than me to figure that out. One of the first things I did is try to compare the 22 and 23 actual columns on this document to the audit reports for those years. Well, many of the numbers agreed, many did not, including the totals. This document says the village spent lost over $1 million each of those years. Really? Well, this document doesn't allow the taxpayers to understand what is going on, and it questions its accuracy. It does tell the village is increasing its total expenditures by almost $400,000, or 17%. The village is increasing its taxes by 19%. This follows a 9% tax increase last year and a 17% tax increase the year before that. This is especially alarming when you consider that the school district of Cambridge has lowered its taxes for 3 years in a row. So it's not everybody's taxes are going up. That was an excuse you guys used at the last meeting. They're not. The village is not compliant with Wisconsin statute 65.9. I know how you guys like to follow rules, but this apparently is not a rule you want to follow. I've made the finance committee aware that over a year ago, nothing's been done. If the village was in compliance with the statute, the taxpayers would be able to get a clear picture of the village finances and where money is being spent, instead of left with this confusing document with lack of information on our village finances. Some of the missing information includes all beginning and ending year-end fund balances. It's interesting that almost all fund balances have a negative fund balance, but we're not reporting that and telling the taxpayers that. Almost all revenues, and there's like 14 different funds, most of which have a negative fund balance. All revenue and expenditures are required to be posted by fund. That's not being done. All revenues and expenditures for just the general fund are supposed to be posted. I do have a few suggestions or questions, but I guess we're not going to answer questions today. But I noticed in the most recent version, which is different than what I got a few weeks ago, is that fire hydrant rental cost is going from $160,000 a year to $265,000. $105,000 increase. It blows my mind. What is that for? Is that just an error, or is that real? Also, since you guys are insisting that this is a one-time deal, I think you should consider just delaying all projects for 1 year, hunkering down for a year and saving that money, and then next year start up the projects again. If you're budgeting over $100,000 this year in professional fees, just stop it for a year. There's $100,000 there, and there's $160,000 in this fire protection thing. Plus, there'd be other savings if you just put everything on hold for a year, stop everything, so you know you got a process, and something that good's going to come next year, and you can balance the budget.
All right,
Your
thank
time
you,
is
Bill.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. All right, Megan Sollenberger?
Oh, that's me. I was going to yield my minutes, so.
Okay, all right. Joe Schultz? You got it? All right, Joe. Jay Fisher?
Yeah, I was as well. I was going to yield.
Okay, all right. Jana Evans?
My public comment is reserved for the regular meeting.
Okay. Brad Koenig?
Yield.
Okay. And Eric Ziegler?
I'm going to hold to the regular meeting for yield.
Okay. All right. Those are all the cards that I have. Are there any other?
I handed one in.
Is this about the budget?
It's the general one, so.
Okay, then we'll have that in a second meeting here. Is there anybody else that would like to speak here regarding the budget? Okay. All right.
Could I just have a second? Could I just read something that by a person who's not able to be here?
I mean, you
Yeah.
can do
Have
whatever
3
you want to time with your 3 minutes. You can do whatever you want if you want to come up.
Okay. My name's Gail Tufty, 314 Oriole Lane. This is from Becky Borchert Wake. Isn't it the job of the board to make the tough decisions on what cuts need to be made to make sure we have the adequate infrastructure funding we need? I don't think they should be asking residents to battle over what budgets should be cut. It's a good way to cause division amongst the community members. It would also be nice to know exactly how much money goes into every budget that could be cut and what exactly that money is used for, which is why it's the board's job to figure out, because they don't give us that information. Thank you.
Okay. One last call. Anybody else would like to speak regarding our budget?
Do you
Well,
want to speak at the next session? Do we need a separate form for that?
yes, if you've already submitted it, because I noted it. So, okay, I'm going to close this portion of the public hearing on our budget, which gets us to item number 4. Help anybody, please?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
I'll second.
All right, roll call good enough on this one, Lisa? Do we need to go with
Yeah, roll-
Just-
or voice vote's fine.
Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay, opposed? All right, we're going to go right into the regular Board of Trustees for the Village of Cambridge, our board. I'm calling this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Trustee Franklin.
Here.
Blackwood. Here. Hollenbeck. Here. Krakow.
Here.
Reinig.
Here.
McNally.
Here. All right, if we could stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Lisa, I'm going to assume that this meeting has been properly posted, but can you give us assurance?
In the upper and lower levels of the Amundsen Community Center, Cambridge Post Office, Badger Bank, and the village website.
All right, okay. Now we're going to get into public comment. Again, the same rules apply. You will have 3 minutes to speak about anything that you want. And so I will go with this list of names. I'll try these again. Eric Ziegler, would you like? Okay, well, it's just you, Eric, so, all right. Brad Koenig?
Pass.
Okay, pass. Janet Evans?
Caitlin's actually gonna go before me.
Have Caitlin go first.
Caitlin's going first.
Okay. Oh, right here, Caitlin. She was going to, okay, Caitlin.
My name is Caitlin Evans. I live in the town of Oakland. I feel your frustrations regarding your budget and would like to specifically speak to you regarding one of your specific line items on the budget, public safety. This is a large part of your budget, and it has been for Oakland. And as an Oakland resident who lives right on the edge of the village limits, 1.2 miles, which is 3 minutes from the fire station, my concern now is my family has been forced from the 3-minute time to now waiting 9 miles, 13 minutes in good weather for Lake Mills EMS and fire. These decisions by Oakland and the decisions your board have been faced with regarding this budget line item are significant and it is at no fault of your board. Both boards have been forced by other municipalities into decisions regarding fire and EMS services. Much of the budget you are concerned with tonight and speaking to your decisions related to the past, which has led your board to where it is today. Obviously, your current board still needs to address your concerns and find workable solutions. The public safety line item is something you can still be involved in and should be speaking out about. For 2 years, your board has been trying to obtain financial information from the Fire Commission. They have been trying to get a hold of the commission and commission employees accountable for finances and other actions that have gotten us into the situation and financial crisis. Now we are faced with the reality and continual overspending, depletion of $500,000 in reserve money with no proper authority and accountability. The town of Christiana and the town of Oakland have refused to attend mediation. The town of Lake Mills have refused to attend mediation. These same municipalities are refusing to even look at the Deer Grove EMS proposal that would be housed at our current location. This could still be a huge cost-saving measure to all the remaining municipalities and would provide the same level of service and response times. I encourage each of you to educate yourself on this topic. There's a lot of miscommunications being presented, such as, and I yield the rest of my time to Jana.
All right. Thank you.
My name's Jana Evans, town of Oakland. There's a lot of miscommunications being presented documented. Social media post by Fire Commission representative from Christiana, treasurer for Fire Commission, David Smithback from Utica, in the last week. We don't have a number, but we need to apply for one to be able to apply for grants to keep the CFD with only 4 municipalities. Fact. The Cambridge Fire Department has an FDID number issued through the state of Wisconsin and is currently listed as the fire department for our municipalities. A community can't have 2 FDID numbers, as the assets of a fire department cannot be shared. In addition, the grant being spoken of is a national safety grant and is for transitioning a volunteer fire department to a full-time paid department. There is no guarantee of getting the grant. It is for a limited amount of time, and again, it is to transition to a full-time department. If our municipalities approve submitting an application for this FDID number, it would deem our Cambridge Volunteer Fire Department inactive and they would be disbanded. Persons pushing for and involved in applying for this FDID number have been attempting to do so since February of 22, shortly after the current EMS director, Paul Blount, was hired. Smithback. The budget for CFD is over $250,000, and we are paying for 2 fire trucks that people forgot. Fact. Actually, there is 1 fire truck that is being paid for, the squad. The engine has been paid in full. Also, let's not lose sight of the fact that the CFD was able to secure a replacement water truck for our communities at no cost to the Fire Commission or the taxpayers because of a generous anonymous donation specifically donated to the fire department and money that the CFD has raised through their fundraising efforts to pay for the balance of the truck. In fact, much of the apparatus and equipment that is a part of the CFD fleet has been purchased by the CFD, not the Fire Commission or the taxpayers. This has been achieved by the CFD's continual efforts in fundraising activities, donation campaigns, and being fiscally responsible. The fact that someone is floating that idea that the Cambridge Volunteer Fire Department will need to be coming up with a list of items from the CFD fleet that the Fire Commission can sell to solve the financial issues of the Fire Commission is absurd. Smithback. At the Town of Christiana budget meeting, Dave Smithback noted that the CFD budget is $250,000 and the EMS budget is $185,000. Fact. The operating budget that the CFD submits to the Commission each year includes the stipend for our volunteers at $13 per call and payment to officers within the department. For example, Fire Chief receives $6,000 a year to compensate for the additional responsibilities that come with being the Fire Chief. In the last 2 years, the CFD has operated within their $90,000 operating budget that was approved by the Commission. Out of the $90,000, $68,000 is benchmarked for stipends to our volunteers. This amount covers 35 active members of our volunteer fire department. In comparison, the 2023 personnel expense for the EMS, including pay and benefits, was more than $996,000. Just the EMS director's salary is $95,000 a year. So I'm uncertain in Mr. Smithback's comments
Jen,
how
I'm
he's
gonna have to
comparing
close this
apples to apples.
portion.
I would like to turn over the rest of my comments to Lynn.
Okay.
Pardon me? Lynn?
Good evening, Lynn Klipstein, resident of Town of Oakland. One of the things that Smithback did not also mention was the current debt related to EMS, which includes a loan for the new ambulance and a loan for the home that was purchased to house the EMS. If you want to be proactive in controlling future increases in your taxes, you need to act prior to decisions, not after the fact. Talk to friends, neighbors in the area, municipalities, Town of Lake Mills and Christiana. Have them speak to their boards, attend meetings, speak out, and about keeping the Cambridge Volunteer Fire Department intact. If you think you have budget issues now, it will be much worse transitioning to a municipality paid fire department. The cost will be insurmountable. Attend fire commission meetings when they have them and demand accountability, transparency, honesty, and the need for them to work together on a viable solution to bring us back together. If you're unwilling or refusing, we should be demanding changes in our leadership. And I think the one thing is again, with the new FDID, the idea is to get a grant. A grant will bring in some nice soft money to be able to do some startup things, and then after that, it'll then become a burden on our taxpayers. And the one thing that we have seen with EMS, when it switched over from volunteer into what it is now, it is a beast gone overspending. And if you guys look at the budget, you can see that. And that is exactly the same track that'll happen if you disband the volunteer fire department, which would have to happen, and there would be a combo or a paid fire department. So I'm thankful you guys rescinded your pullout, and I'm glad you guys are going to continue to stay in, because I hope that's the fight that you guys will do, is to stay, because I'm hopeful Oakland's coming back too. If not, I mean, right now, not right away, but the goal would be to come back into the fold, I hope. So thank you guys for your support. I'd speak to everybody here, just make sure you get out and get people involved in those townships.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Lynn. All right, next person up, again, Jay Fisher. Jay, did you?
I yield.
You, okay. Megan Sollenberger?
I yield.
Okay. Wesley Meyer?
I'm good. I was going to yield.
Okay, all right. And then the last one that I have, Bill Christ. Bill, before you come up, because we're kind of bouncing back and forth here. Is there anybody else that wants to speak on the fire and the EMS? Okay, all right. Thank you, Bill.
Sure, no problem. Well, I all know I'm kind of a numbers person, but one thing that struck me at your last meeting prior to this one, there was a nice woman that stood up and talked, and she shared with us she makes $1,400 a month in Social Security. And our property taxes currently are $4,200 a year. So I did some thinking about that and did some checking. Social Security is going to go up 2.5% next year. So she's going to get $420 more to spend next year. And her tax bill is going to go up $350. So you're basically taking all her cost increase that she's getting and spending it on taxes. And then you add to that the increase in her water bill. She's probably spending $600 more a year in water. Then add to that, now our garbage is going to go up 5% a year every year for the next 5 years. I feel real bad for her. You know, at the last meeting, no one even talked about that or thought about it. And she isn't an isolated person. 16% of our households in this community earn less than $25,000 a year. 1 in 6 people. You're killing them with this price increase. 30% of the people in this community make less than of the households in this community make less than $50,000 a year. So imagine that those people are going to see somewhere in the $400 to $600 increase in their taxes, and if they're lucky enough to get a 2.5% increase, they'll maybe get $1,000 to $1,200 a year. And then you add that to the water increase, these people are going backwards. So my plea to you is to think about these people. It's 30%. 30% of the population households in Cambridge make less than $50,000 a year. Think about what you're doing to those people. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. All right. Is there anybody else that would like to speak at this time? I'm going to close the public comment. One last opportunity. Okay, public comment is closed. We will continue on here. Start with approval of the consent agenda. Anybody want to help me here with this, which includes village board minutes, water and sewer committee, and personnel and public works?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
All right.
I'll second.
Okay, discussion? Anybody? Questions?
I actually had a comment about, I think it was in the Public Works meeting, about the flowers downtown. It's great that 523 wants to do the flowers and the garland, but for 2025, it would be great if we can work with Christiana at Avid Gardener to get the flowers through her, because Christiane called me up and asked, I hear that the budget is looking at getting rid of flowers and garland, and I'm like, yes, we are. I'm like, but you know, we'll find some way to fundraise. She goes, because I have to make my orders now for things that we're going to need in the spring. And so I told her to go ahead and make those orders. So and in telling her that, what my intent was, that we would ask the Cambridge Foundation for downtown seasonal beautification, which would be allowing us money for flowers in the summer and garland in the winter. That was one of the things that I was going to suggest we put to the Cambridge Foundation. By going through the foundation, we not only can cover the costs of materials and to build it, but we can also help to maybe cover a little bit of the upkeep of those items as well, if we go for a foundation grant. So that was one of the things that I had in my mind, and I'm like, and if we don't get it, then at that point, I'll just start fundraising so that I can raise enough money to pay Avid Gardener for their services for those flowers. So I don't know how that jives, and I don't know what kind of agreements were made for flowers.
This is on the agenda. We can discuss it.
Oh, it is, okay, sorry.
It's all good. Yeah,
All
we,
right.
we can get into that stuff later.
Yeah, but this wasn't related to the labor, but, okay.
Okay.
All right, we can talk about it later on in the meeting.
Is there anything else that anybody would like to talk about?
Yeah, there was one other item in the menu, I thought when we were doing committee assignments that I was going to do the cable, and I think you have it marked down as Kristen.
Okay.
Kristen, if you want. You can. Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
I got enough.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
I think
Thank
that just needs to be adjusted.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I did not catch that.
I had a typo, but I can give it to you later, Lisa. It's from what I read on it. Okay, anything else on the consent agenda? We've got a motion and a second. All those in favor of passing this, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, it carries. All right, going into reports. I get a fun one. I hope everybody saw the Christmas lights. I don't know if I'm allowed to say Christmas lights, but I don't think we put them up because we like to celebrate Thanksgiving. They're up. They look great. I know the guys had to treat them. Would they spray them so that the garland lasts a little bit longer? And it really is wonderful. So I would say something to Public Works, but I see them here this evening, and I thought that was very well done. So, moving on, Library Board.
I was unable, we had a conflicting village board meeting the night of the library board, so I was unable to attend.
Okay, all right. Public Works, our interim director, Jay Ames. I do
Jay
not.
gave me the report.
Okay.
As we talked about at Public Works Committee.
All right.
It's kind of a summary of what they've been doing. They have picked up 95% of the leaves to date, 32.5 loads, so they've collected 650 cubic yards of leaves. Main Street flowers were removed and decorations were put up and all the prep work for that. Picnic tables were removed from parks. Compost pickup and brush, they're completing tomorrow. They worked on getting the Christmas lights up before the holiday and so forth. Veterans Park flag was taken down and sent in for repairs. There was a large water main leak off of Mill and Main Street that has been repaired and patched, temporary patch. Obviously had our first snowfall. Work on their to-do list. There's some lights on Main Street that need repair. Putting the rest of the benches and flower pots away. The snow fence along the river in Westside Park. Some shrub trimming in Westside Park and at the Amundsen Center. Finishing and getting the equipment set up for snow removal. Finishing the remainder of the leaf pickup. some tree trimming that needs to be done for snow removal where the trucks are be hitting the trees. There were some questions regarding snow removal in Springwater Valley. They'll be meeting with a business owner there regarding that, and they're reviewing the retention pond plan that was provided by MSA.
Okay. All right. Is there any questions?
A lot of work.
I was trying to quickly calculate. I don't have my calculator, but I'm thinking, what's the capacity of this room? Because you said there was, what, 650 cubic yards? I mean, you know, take this room and probably times 5 or something. I don't know. I didn't get the math done before you were finished, so it's just a lot of leaves. I know that there were some concerns this year
They're
raised on
continuing
leaves.
to put out notices where there's issues picking them up. And
Yeah, yeah. And we're trying to be consistent here throughout the village and, you know, do this fairly, and the equipment doesn't, we don't want to run it on the grass. I know that the village has changed. It used to be we left the leaves in the street, and now we're asking people to keep them on the terrace. It's a little safer, and
Is there a reason why Public Works keeps a tally of how many square yards or whatever of leaves?
I think it can be used in some of the reports that we do for the state for recycling and, yeah.
okay, all righty. Anything else for Lisa? Care of Jay?
I think the only thing he highlighted was with leaf pickup and brush pickup is to keep things separate. The Public Works guys are asking to keep things separate. Don't put things like bricks or bowling balls, I think he said, mixed in with other stuff because it can damage the equipment. So,
Yeah.
And they are short-staffed for the foreseeable future, so they're only able to pick up about 3-4 feet. Before they used to be, you know, suck up the 3-4 feet, rake the rest over, and able to get them all. Now they can't do that because they're limited on time. So just be mindful of that. Don't put anything in the street. Keep everything separated. There's going to be a change to brush pickup. Since we have a limit on people, that's going down to once a month at a minimum. If they have more time, they'll get out there more if they can. We talked about audit and finance stuff. That's on the agenda. Springwater Alley, that's a future item, but we might look to push that off as it's a big project to 2026. Try to change that to a street to apply for an LRIP grant to help with the budget. And then flowers, garden lights, we're going to cover that on the agenda as well.
Okay. All righty. Let's see. What else do you have here, Lisa? This is now on behalf of the village
Been
office.
working with Ellers, setting up our joint TIF review board meeting in December, which is a statutorily required meeting that we hold each year. Finalized Dana Jefferson County specials that will be going on the tax bill. Got those sent over to both counties. Working on the start of tax bill preparation, updating property addresses and access Dane that weren't complete. They probably sent over a list of over 100 addresses that we're going through and clarifying the addresses for those. A lot going on with fire EMS, closing out the November election, working on the April election. Notices have started going out for that. Packets are ready for those wanting to run for village board or president in April. I did bring some down. They will be available in the office. Nomination papers can begin circulating on December 1st. So for 3 village board seats and the president seat. We worked with the water utility. There was a requirement from EPA and the DNR on pipes leading to private residences. So Derek has been working to figure out those that we know what they are. We're fairly confident there's no lead pipes in the village, but For the private lines, letters went out asking people to please contact us. There's a new email address set up. They can send pictures of the pipe going into their meter so that we can determine what those are. So there were about 400 of those letters that went out as a EPA mandate. There is information on the website with the special email address to reach out for questions or to send pictures and so forth. Beginning a lot of the year-end projects, insurance renewals were completed, updating that information in the payroll system. Flex spending is going on right now, the renewals. So beginning the year-end stuff, that will continue for the next month with
Okay.
taxes.
All right, questions for Lisa? Anybody? Anything? You're okay over here, guys? All right, thank you, Lisa. Let's go on to item 7 of the agenda, the treasurer's report and bills. We'll start with the bills.
First run of bills were in the amount of $18,825.45. Second run was $31,070.80 for a total of $49,896.25.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills in the amount of $49,896.25.
I'll second.
Okay. And a motion and a second, so this is our opportunity for questions, concerns, issues.
I've got a
Anything?
question about MSA Professional Services. I'm showing here Vineyards Lot 1, it's $6,223. Is that going to go back to the developer?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And how do we show that in future as it's being billed back to the developer?
I suppose the treasurer's report can show bills that are sent out. It's in the accounting software, it's hard to show. Yeah, it
Might be something to take
Yeah.
a look at, because that might be, there might be some of that development project consultation that could be showed as a positive if we bill it back to them,
Yeah.
as well as legal.
Yeah.
Legal as well.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a catch-all, but it's something I noticed on this book.
Yeah, and there are often bill back items that, through developers agreements and so forth.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, we've got a motion and a second to pay the bills in the amount of $49,896.25. Roll call, please.
Blackwood,
Yes.
Hollenbeck,
Yes.
Crackwell,
Yes.
Reinig,
Yes.
Franklin,
Yes.
McNally.
Yes. All right, bills will be paid. Do you have anything else that you want to share with us this evening here?
Nope.
Lisa? Okay. All right, we're going to move on then. We're into new business. First one up here is Resolution 2024-10 relating to the fee schedules, dog licensing.
You have in your packet a memo, Dane County is increasing the dog license fees. We collect the fees, issue the licenses, but it all goes back to the county. At the end, we get back 25 cents per dog license.
They couldn't even raise what we got back. They got us 50 cents
Yeah.
back.
So these are, I have on the memo what our current fee is, what Dane County's fee was in 2024, what it is in 2025. In the resolution, I didn't put in numbers. I crossed out what there is because it's your decision what we raise it to. Looking at the time it takes to process, to do the reports that we have to do to the county and so forth, we figured it's about 15 minutes per dog to process. So looking at about $6 per dog for our time to do. And then if they're being mailed out, it's an additional 69 cents. So adding $7 to what Dane County fees are would cover village costs, but it's your guys' decision what to change our fee schedule to.
So in other words, we're $7 short right now per dog, little hound. Oh, boy. And we don't do anything with felines.
No.
So people have cats.
We tried,
Yeah,
Mark,
I know.
and
I know.
yeah.
It did not work.
Yeah. All right, what do we want to do here?
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution 2024-10 relating to the fee schedules for the dog licensing.
Raising it $7?
$7, yeah.
$7 over Dane County's.
Mm-hmm. I'll second that.
Okay, discussion?
So,
Paula?
so we were already, so it looks like it's going to be about between a $5 and a $6 increase.
Yeah, because
what it ends
we're
up being.
a little above for
Okay.
some of them.
About 6. you
Yeah.
said.
Okay.
So now the new spayed and neutered fee will be $27. Correct? Am I reading that correctly?
The spayed and neutered, if we add $7, would be $25.75.
25. So look at the third column, Chris.
In
Okay.
the
The
memo.
third
Okay.
column is
Yeah.
what Dane
Okay.
County is charging.
Yeah.
I got it. All right.
Yeah. Unspayed or unneutered would be $34.75. Puppies, $24.25. So forth. We do not have any multiple dog kennels or at this time. That's part of there.
Okay, is there anything else? Okay, it's money, so let's go through it and do a roll call.
Hollenbeck. Yes. Crackwell.
Yes.
Reinig.
Yes.
Franklin.
Yes.
Blackwood.
Yes.
McNally.
Yes. Sorry, Fido. All right, now we're going to move on to item B, 8B. Our resolution 2024-11 related to the borrowing of $300,000.
I'll make a motion to approve Village of Cambridge Resolution number 2024-11, the resolution authorizing the borrowing of $300,000 for the purpose of 2025 general operations.
I will second.
I wasn't here for the last meeting when this got started, so I got some questions. Why can't this be, why is it such a short term, a 1 year, 1 day? Why can't we do a 5-year or 10-year to lessen the spike, the tax hike?
Yeah, this is something that Ellers helped us with. Many communities across the state do this. You can add it so it's all on the tax, in the tax levy limit worksheet. As soon as we receive taxes, it can be paid back. So it's allowing us to collect more taxes and then just pay it off right away. In the long run, it is not going to cost the village anything because it's such a short term, you don't have the interest rates that you're paying and so forth.
So there's not an option to do a long-term loan?
There is, it differs then how it's on the tax levy worksheet. You wouldn't be, yeah, it's all the process in the tax levy limit worksheet, and how we collect it, use it now, pay it back right away.
So you can't do it?
If we took a long-term loan, we'd still have to cut the budget by $300,000. Because we can't reflect that $300,000 as, so if we took a long-term, it would be seen in a sense like reserves kind of thing versus, so then we'd still have to, in order to get a balanced budget, we'd still have to cut $300,000 out of the budget. Well, $276,000.
Speaking of reserves, so I'm going to be getting into the budget, so
Yeah.
So,
And I'll make note, we have to approve the resolution on the loan prior to the budget to be able to have it on the levy limit worksheet. If it were approved after, or if we waited 2 months, it would not be on this year's levy limit worksheet. It would be on next year's and wouldn't be reflected until 2026. So
I want to see if there's ways we
yeah.
can lower it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That's what we want.
Well, just to let you know, Chuck, that the Audit and Finance Committee did go through, and we did lower, because the numbers you're seeing on what's in front of you, we lowered 22 items.
I know, and I
In
know
audit
you
finance.
guys went through line by line, and
Okay.
believe me, I respect what you've been doing. But so it looks like we're going to have an $87,000 excess for the end of 2024. You guys see that? So where does that money go at the end of the year?
It goes into our reserves,
So that goes into reserve.
which is 0
Okay.
right now.
So there's going to be $87,000. Can we use that? Can we lower that loan to 220, whatever it would be?
Realistically,
213?
we would have to probably take that 87, Paul, if you don't mind me interjecting here, but it probably will end up getting earmarked for whatever we're going to have to pay for fire and EMS with Oakland pulling out.
I thought we had an extra 25 in that loan for.
That the 300, we to balance the budget, we need $276,000.
But theoretically, could we lower this loan and use this excess for next year's budget?
Ask the board.
And then I'm thinking we can cut this thing by 100,000. So we got our village legal work. So we have 50,000 earmarked. And I love Jane, and she has helped us out tremendously. But we might have to only use her during critical times, like developers agreements, the real nitty-gritty fire and EMS stuff, and then we just have to grin and bear it for the next year. This next year's gonna be tough, but
Wasn't that 50,000?
it's at 50. I think we could drop it to 25 or 30.
So we had talked about that. We talked about that.
I'm not attacking. I'm just trying
I know
to.
you're not, so I'm trying to explain to you, Chuck. I'm just trying to explain to you where we were.
All right.
So we talked about that at the Audit and Finance Committee meeting. And we thought it was better to reflect something more realistic in the budget than what we could maybe get by with. Because of everything going on with fire and EMS, we know we are going to have some significant legal fees there. We aren't going to have a choice on that. Because there's no way we can
Maneuver.
not maneuver. We can't go through that on our own, because we have to have legal counsel in order for the fire and EMS stuff. So we could reduce it, but the likelihood that we'll go over it then would be.
I see what you're saying, but.
And that's, again, we talked a lot about it, but we thought it was better to be realistic with how we thought the money would be spent versus trying to cut something just to.
If you look at just this week, the mediation correspondence that's been going back and forth has, you probably saw it in your email. I mean,
I did, but foresee that subsiding.
No, because
Anytime
we've got a
soon?
lot more stuff we have to mediate with the commission.
well, with the Oakland pullout too, there's going to be an audit.
That Oakland has to pay for, right?
Right.
Chuck, are you trying to find 100,000 to save kind
Well,
of thing? 'Cause,
yeah, well, I am.
Because I like that one idea, because 87,000, right, is that the overage or whatever? That's
That's
supposed
what we're
to go in
gonna
our-
have sitting there.
We're just borrowing ourselves if we're just putting the money in and then paying it right back when we get the taxes, right? So we're just using that to lower that loan, right?
Yeah, instead of taking out a 300,000, I'm trying to get this down to 200.
I will say,
Yes, thank you.
and I appreciate that. we cannot change the loan documents tonight. We'd have to have the bank redo this and come back in the.
I'm aware.
Like tomorrow.
I know.
Because the county has to start tax bills.
So
if-
then we'd have
if
to have a
we-
special session tomorrow
If we
to approve the
want to,
budget?
and if we want to change the loans stuff, if the bank can do it for us tomorrow.
Well, don't we have a meeting in December?
The budget has to be passed so that tax bills have to go out by December 16th. Mill rate worksheet and statement of taxes and the levy limit worksheet all have to be done and gotten to the counties to prepare tax bills.
So what's the latest? When's the latest you need all this information? I know, but
I hear what you're saying, though.
Basically.
Any
I
cut
think
is
it's
better than
If
no
we make
cut.
changes, it would have to, I think we'd have to have a special meeting tomorrow.
well,
No.
I like how you're thinking, Chuck. It's great, but I would caution you on that 82,000 unless someone knows what they're doing, has gone through that and blesses it.
Okay.
My experience is it's probably not worth looking at.
You can see that in the handout.
The quality of the work that's done financially sucks. One.
Okay, all
I
right.
like where you're going, so be careful.
what the fuck?
So what else did you see, Chuck, that you thought?
Well, I mean, I'll just. So we're sticking with the 50 for village legal work.
I mean, we can change it to whatever the board thinks it should be changed to.
I feel like even 40, it's not much, but it's something. I don't know.
Where are we at right now, legal for this year?
There's
I think-
multiple lines, I think you gotta add it up, right?
But I might have that.
And then, what's going on with the hydrant rental?
Yeah.
At
yeah.
260.
That is,
noticed
that's
that,
set through PSC.
Oh.
That's not something we calculate. PSC figures that out during the rate case. Ellers provided us with the new numbers for that.
Is he helping us out again?
Nope, I didn't bring that document with
How
me
do-
today.
We couldn't even have a meeting tomorrow night, even if we wanted to, because you'd have to post it.
Post an emergency meeting, but there's,
Couldn't we have a meeting next week?
December 10th is the next one.
yeah, we could, I don't know how the counties, I can't do the mill rate worksheets and so forth until the budget is passed. So
I know. I'm just
I,
trying to look outside the
Yeah.
box and
um,
get this down 100,000. What would that change the percentage of increase down to 12?
Chuck,
And we're currently
when
at
we
18.
were looking through this, and I get what you're doing, we go through, initially, it was presented to us by our previous treasurer that her recommendation was that we go out for $250,000. This was at the beginning of the audit and finance meeting. And Paula said, no, we're gonna do our due diligence and go through each line item. So we're going through the line items, and we made some ground, 6,000 there, 5,000 there, and then all of a sudden we get to a line item that's just blank. And that was just because the treasurer at the time didn't know what monetary amount needed to go in there, and it's 50,000. So now we're already working,
you know,
Yeah.
to try to make up for that 6,000 that we took off. And it was like that throughout, I want to say 3 or 4 times throughout the budget.
Yep, there were five items we had to add.
Add
and-
money to.
Yep, and then there were
So,
22 items that
I
we
mean,
were
I
able
looked at
to
everything,
reduce or
salt,
eliminate.
you know, everything, you know, the minuscule things, the,
Speaking of salt, that's at 18. We've only spent 11.7.
It's a contract that we've already signed for the next year.
So that's a done deal. That's,
Mhm.
and we're full of salt.
Did the board approve that? How can you sign a contract without board approval?
So,
Bill,
Okay.
you're not on the board anymore.
Okay.
You're
All right.
supposed to step down.
It's a good question.
Hey,
All right, okay, all right, okay.
nothing is
That's-
being hidden.
All right,
Then that comment is inappropriate.
all right, okay. All right. Thank you. Chuck, what do you,
I don't know,
what do you feel like? You want to,
I mean, I'm happy, Chuck, I'm happy to do another audit and finance meeting if you want to go line by line. I was going to do that before for another board member who wanted to do that, and we had it all scheduled. So if you want to do it, I'd be happy to do that again for you.
I mean, don't you think there's a way we can get this down with this reserve?
I think you can cut legal. I
Can we
mean,
cut
I
legal and
just-
use this reserve? And I know we're going to need a little extra for
You know,
planning.
I wouldn't count on that reserve, because we have always, over the last 2-3 years, we've not, after the audit, we've not come out the way we thought we were, and once again, we're without a treasurer for a period of time, which is going to be a mess for us. So,
If we lower the loan to like 200,000 and we're going to pay it right away, what do we really end up saving as opposed to the 300,000? Is it, you know, some interest? I mean, really, at the end of the day, how much are we really saving, right?
It's more the impact on the taxpayer.
Yeah,
Just the tax.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it's going up
on the rate sheet and all that.
18, and now it would probably drop to
Okay.
like 12.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's the one, that will be an expense for this next year.
Okay.
Is
That's-
500,000 at 5%
I understand.
interest.
Okay. That makes.
That's what I'm trying to do.
And I guess the one question that I have is, how are we going to prevent this from
I've got plans for
repeating itself?
I've got plans for next year, which I had talked about previously, that we're going to start, I'm going to start right away in January, well, with hopefully our new treasurer. And we're going to take a look at all the contracts that we have. We're going to take a look at all of the, you know, where we are. And like I said before, I think we're probably going to come out to, because this budget does reflect us hiring a full-time position for Public Works in May. But I'm pretty sure that one of the things we're going to come out is that we're not going to be able to afford that moving forward. So, I mean, that's one way that we could reduce things out of the budget if we want to make a commitment right now that we will not be.
I did look at
do that.
the Public Works budget, and I don't know why what it includes in here is an extra $12,000 for the Public Works portion of that position. So, not quite.
For the FTE to replace
Yeah.
what was Todd's position?
Yeah.
How
it
is
was-
$12,000 going to cover, because
I don't
were
know. I pulled
told-
up the work that was done previously, and it's $11,960 is budgeted for that position in the Public Works in what is in the budget.
So we need.
that makes no sense to me. Are you sure that isn't just like the health and the benefits part of it?
No,
Wait, are you looking at, because let me see what that, because I think that's the part-time position.
no, it's with, oh, there was that with Todd taken off, because this question came up at Public Works, so we have the others. So it had a 80.
Push back and say it's unacceptable.
No, no.
So maybe it
No,
was
this is the increase.
80%.
This is the increase. This is the increase.
Okay, an increase
Yeah.
of,
Yeah, this is what the difference would be. This was the salary increase that they were going to be getting.
So
Um,
we're ready to be in the hole.
well, but
I think we have to.
it's their full salary,
Fire
so,
is gonna be-
that's,
You okay with a meeting next
so,
week?
only 11,000
We
is,
gotta make a
This,
but this is their full salary, it's a
Nope, I agree.
$900 increase,
I just want to
880.
understand the sense, yeah.
that's the increase, but that doesn't include the base.
This is what's in though for public works, I think, for wages.
That can't, we pay more than that annually for our public works people.
I mean, we're literally going to be starting the year in the hole.
So I don't know if that's, you know.
Unless some of the money
lesser
goes,
wage or-
does some of the money go under
Yeah.
administration?
On the
And
oth-
then
No,
we've
not in
got
this
that.
position.
That
The
position?
11th.
Some would be water and sewer, but
Where I have to go to the union.
But I think that's
for
what the 80%
negotiations for
is
this year.
supposed to be.
percent
And
So-
now
to the
retroactive
village.
pay.
It's, yeah, that's not
No.
that's not accurate. That's
No.
not what that reflects. That reflects just what the increase was going to be
Another thing you gotta think
Yeah.
about too, Chuck, is
somehow.
on the December 11th, I am going for the second series of mediation with the union, with Dave Schrader, to negotiate the union contract with EMS for 2024. So they're expecting retroactive pay, because their union contract is still in jeopardy. So that is another large portion of money that will
Okay.
go towards fire and EMS.
I'd say we leave the legal fees as is. We're still projecting 87,000 in reserves, and we can look at public works fees. If there's extra money in there, they had a meeting, a 4-hour meeting there tonight. They can get, right now they're short-staffed, but if we give them a LTE employee for snow plowing in the winter and street painting in the summer, they can get by. And that would be about $10,000. So if we can, what do we,
I don't
seems
know,
like
we
there's
have
some
to take-
confusion. Maybe
Yep.
need to look at this one more time. And
Good deal.
and I know it's a pain in the butt, but
So here's the thing, Lisa, do you know enough workhorse that you'd be able to go in and make some of these changes for the 2025 budget?
I can make changes. My concern is getting everything done and to the counties to get tax bills done.
By what date do we have to have things to the county?
December 16th.
No, tax bills have to be in the mail on December 16th, so, and it's going to take me longer to do the mill rate worksheet and so forth because that's not something I normally do.
can we bring in Judy to help out?
Judy is helping out, but
Yeah.
she's never done mill rate worksheets and levy limit worksheets, and, the
Like-
counties will be helping me where,
Tuesday?
but
When do you meet with the
11th.
commission?
I don't
Would-
know when the next commission meeting is. But I know I meet with,
Dave Schrader, what day
yeah,
is that?
11
Okay, is that at night or is that during the day?
during the day.
Okay. Do we want to just hold off and see if we have a week, we get together 1 week from today, a special meeting to go through this one more time?
We can do audit and finance next Wednesday, and then a meeting Thursday, board meeting.
that's not giving me enough time to get the mill rate worksheet and everything to the county to get tax bills. They have to figure, enter all the input, get the tax bills created and get them printed to be out by the 16th. And I'm just being realistic. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't get them things on the 5th or 6th, or us decide on the 5th and 6th, me get the mill rate worksheet all done,
You gotta be done by the 6th, probably, to get it to them for a week to print out.
yeah, at least. Yeah, I mean, to get to us,
Or have a
they print out a
meeting
house.
audit finance Tuesday, followed by a board meeting. Can we ask for an extension?
Can we not
No.
do Tuesday?
There's no extensions.
Huh?
Can we do Monday?
Let's take a look at it and do something tomorrow.
I'll be out of town.
Call in.
No, that doesn't work.
I'm listening to you, Chuck, and you know, if we had legal, that's the one thing that we could maybe squeeze 25,000 out of, but that's going to take it from
So
3
we
to
could-
275.
If we take, so then we take out a loan for 275,000, and we just take out exactly, or we take out a loan for 250,000, then, instead of 300. And then we don't have the buffer in the loan, which we were thinking we probably need for fire and EMS,
Yeah.
but we'll take that out, and if we have to borrow money for fire and EMS, we can do that separately throughout the year. So that's $24,000. And so then if we reduce legal by 26,000, there's $50,000. And that's two quick line items that we can do budget balance.
What about the public works
Position,
just talked about?
I don't know how, would you know how to go in? Problem is, I don't know what that amount is, Chuck. And so that we can't do that today.
Then
If we have later, we find out that we've got an increase in fire and EMS, and we have an amended budget, I don't think we've done one yet, but what are the timeframes? Do you remember anything on that?
You can amend a budget at any time, but we can't collect taxes on it. I mean,
Right.
taxes are done, we're setting the budget, and
I mean,
tax bills
we
are
could-
based off of that.
Let's just borrow 200,000.
yeah, could we do that?
Borrow 200,000, and then we have to figure.
We
then
have
we
to
can.
figure out the rest.
We'll figure out the rest.
And then could we, if we had to, could we borrow more for fire and EMS?
We would have no choice.
Anything that we do borrow would then go on the levy limit worksheet for the following year. So it is, at some point,
It's gonna
going
catch
on the levy limit worksheet.
So Lisa,
Yeah.
do we have to find the other $50,000 somewhere in the budget to make it balance? Or do we
Yeah.
not need to do that?
Yeah.
We do. Okay, so
And
we can
have to
borrow
balance.
$200,000, but we have to find, and again, a budget is an estimate.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about
Sometimes
this?
things are up and things are down.
What about the
So
87,000 in excess?
where's that? You can't count that as like a revenue.
Oh, right.
Our revenues have to match our expenses.
Is that something you can reach out to
So-
Badger and get a loan amount for 200,000?
If they're available tomorrow, and we can't pass a budget tonight, then the loan has to be approved before the budget is approved.
But if we're all in agreement, 200,000, we can have a meeting tomorrow to approve it.
I can't be here, but
Well,
Let's-
we could do it even telephonically for one meeting. 'Cause
Right.
that's
All right.
just-
If the
Yeah, I
meeting
can-
is only to,
Yeah.
yes,
I could do that.
approve the.
Yeah.
That'd be fine.
so what? All right, so 200,000, and we're going to look at.
So we're going to
We're
reduce,
cut-
we're
we're
going to reduce legal fees by $26,000.
Reduce legal by 26, and then we're going to reduce public works wages. So we need,
But we don't know how
Eh,
much we're going to
I'm-
reduce public wages by, Chuck.
I'm
That's our
very
problem.
hesitant to try to do this all by tomorrow.
Yeah, I
I-
know. I think we have to
I'm not comfortable.
come back
Um,
around and by let's just say the 15th of January, to be able to identify additional expenses that we can cut.
But that's not, Okay.
if we're going to get it down to 200.
We have to pass a balanced budget.
Right. Do you want to take out the $25,000 for, oh, that's streetlights. Never mind, we can't take that out.
Not that it's going to be a popular suggestion, but do we look at the library request again?
We can't. It's incorrect. We have to give the library $94,762 or something. The $84,000 was the previous year's amount.
And
What
the
about,
top right, it says 105.
What about,
No,
what do
no, we reduced it by 10
To what?
already.
To 90?
If you look at the budget, we
That's
give
the
them
lowest?
$95,000 is
Then
what
that's the
is what
lowest
they're
we can go?
budgeted. That is the lowest we can go. I mean, we can go maybe $10 or $20 lower. I can
Right, no,
I can add it up quick.
No.
Okay.
We don't have an approved budget for fire and EMS. So is there a situation where we can just leave that line item blank until the beginning of the year? And once we get that approved budget, which we are mediating for, then we borrow for whatever that amount is?
Or we reduce what we had budgeted by $50,000 for fire and EMS.
You have to. We have to cut it
Or,
from fire and EMS.
or knowing it's going to be more, do we go with what's on the table? With Oakland leaving, it's,
But there might be the cheaper option of Deer Grove for EMS.
Lisa, small one, real small one, but that fuel tax credit, that's like $2,500 a year. That maybe that we haven't filed that in 2-3 years. It might be 10,000.
I don't know. I want to
Can we
say
just
something
estimate that?
changed where I have to look into it to see if,
Is anybody out there? with-
again,
I'm just looking for
we-
numbers to help us get to where we at in order to support a $200,000 loan instead of a $3. So if we haven't included that, we
And
could.
then, you know, if we take out 50,000 for fire and EMS, and they come back, and say, well, it's going to cost X amount or whatever, or here's the Deer Grove option.
Then we know we have to make a
Then we
budget
know,
adjustment.
right? We need
Because
know-
we didn't get a budget, really, we didn't get a budget for them on what they needed. So let's say our budget, we can afford X, Y, Z. So let's reduce fire and EMS by the other $50,000 we're missing.
It's an easy workhorse.
And then that gets us to a $200,000 loan.
Wait, so I got 25 from legal.
is that
Nope.
realistic though?
26? We were $276,000 short. So we were going to borrow 300. So that's 24 extra.
Oh, gotcha.
So we need to take 26 out of legal.
Gotcha.
So that gets us to
So, yeah, but, okay.
26 out of legal, 50 out of
26 out of legal, 50 out of
fire and EMS.
fire and EMS, and then take out a $200,000 loan.
But with the knowledge that,
With the
you know,
knowledge,
there's a lot of unknowing right now with fire and EMS, and
We're going to have to borrow money for fire and EMS then, to pay
Well,
fire and EMS most
Then we
likely
could,
next year.
then we could circle back on Public Works wages. and
Yep.
Maybe we
Yep.
could reduce there with the LTE employment. So we have areas where we can make some cuts and adjustments.
And they even, Jay gave us this list the
List.
other day where he talked about
Yeah.
different cuts and things that we could look at through them.
I think that's the administratively is probably the easiest way.
says
It's
lease.
two things.
Yeah, you could make
To
two.
change it
Call the bank,
administratively would
change the
be
number on the sheet.
easiest is to
Right.
pass what's on the table. I can't guarantee the bank's availability and, you know, it's a risk.
I mean, could we look at Monday?
We're asking you to be a miracle worker again, Lisa. So just do the best you can.
I'm pretty sure, again, we
Call
cut
Keller.
the fire. Well, yeah,
Call
I
Keller.
haven't
Well,
spoken to him.
I'll send a message tonight, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I know there's probably 5,000 on that federal fuel tax credit.
something may have changed where the way we get billed, if we get, I don't know for sure. I know that's why we had stopped.
All right. Okay.
If we weren't
All
showing
right.
all the
There was a
taxes,
motion
but-
made for 300. Do we want to amend that motion?
I withdraw my motion.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
I will make a motion to, let's see where we're at here.
B and C are out, right?
Yeah, yep. Is it going to be the same resolution, Lisa, or a new one?
Nope, it's going to have to be a new one.
Okay. So I don't even need to make a motion now until the administrative part's done?
Yeah.
For 200,000?
Yep.
Tabling that.
So I'll make a motion to
Sheriff's
borrow
staff do that.
$200,000 vice $300,000.
I'll
For-
second.
All right,
Okay.
it's money.
What was the motion?
I will make a motion to borrow $200,000 vice $300,000.
I'll second.
Okay. Any further discussion?
So,
Roll call,
hold on.
please.
So, reduce legal by 26, reduce fire and EMS by 50, and then if fire and EMS comes back high, we'll still have some reserve money as well, too.
Chuck, don't,
I won't count on the
don't
reserve.
stop
Yeah.
betting on that
Why?
reserve money.
Because
Because that reserve money most likely won't be there.
All right.
Okay. All right. So we got a motion and a second,
it's money roll.
and any further questions? All right. Anybody? Roll call,
What's our
please.
timing, though? What's our timing? Are we meeting tomorrow night, or, I mean,
We'll have to.
I've got
Yeah.
pardon my French, a hell of a lot of work to do, and I'm short-staffed.
We,
And
well,
this
so at least
isn't on our timeline, it's on
Yeah.
the state's and the county's timelines.
we'll meet
Um,
again tomorrow night.
Yep.
All right, let's just get this done.
Well, okay, we'll meet tomorrow night, provided the bank can get us the information they need to get us.
Yes.
And we have no guarantee of that, right? And that's not Lisa's fault.
No. But we know that we're trying to have a meeting tomorrow night, provided that the bank can amend the documents from the 300,000 to the 200,000. Chuck, if you
So-
can call in.
Was anybody
I can
having to
go in.
travel for Thanksgiving tomorrow night?
I am, but I can
I'll make it
call
work.
I'll
I've
make it
got
work.
plans, I have family in from out of state, but I'll
Okay.
be here. I know it's
All right.
If the bank can't get it turned around, if we have to meet very early next week, does that give us time? Does it sound like at least we make it through to like the 4th or 5th, right? I'm just saying if the bank doesn't come back, then
Yeah.
what do we do? We have to meet somehow to
Monday?
pass a
That's-
budget, right?
Could we just meet Monday instead?
That'll give 2 days for the bank to get their
Yeah,
stuff together.
I could call in.
Yeah, and if you could call
Monday's
it.
fine. Wait.
So, yeah, Monday.
I think that makes
Would
sense.
Monday work better for you, Lisa?
I
or-
don't care. I'm struggling on how everything is going to get done in time to get to the counties. We have to do 2 sets of mill rate worksheets and everything else.
And is the concern because you don't generally do the mill rate worksheets, so it'll take you longer?
It's going to take me longer, and Ellers and the counties will help me. I know the basics, but not,
Yeah.
My experience with financial institutions is that it's easier to come down than it is to go up. Now, they may change the interest rate a little bit, but, you know, I think we're better off to try to get this done this week. I know you've got plans tomorrow, but just, we can call in, we'll be here and have the meeting, and we'll be out of here in 15 minutes.
I mean, if that's the case, can we all call in?
No,
I
it
will
has
be
to be a
here.
public meeting
I'll
open
be
to the
here.
public.
Yeah,
It's,
public has to be.
Oh, I was thinking like what you did during COVID. And I don't know what you guys did during COVID. I wasn't on the board then.
I wasn't here during that.
Still a financial vote, we should meet.
yeah.
so.
Good.
All right.
Is it, I mean, do we wait till
I
Monday?
mean, the least we can do, as much as we're inconveniencing Lisa, the least we can do is show up and, you know,
Yeah,
do our due diligence as well, so.
okay.
All right, so tomorrow night, we meet, drop it from 3 to 200. Do we have a motion for that?
Yep, there's been a motion, there's been a second, now we need a roll call.
Do we have anything else further before?
We don't need a roll call. It can be voice vote because we're not actually approving the loan. We're just saying we want to go out for a loan.
All right,
I mean, if you want a roll call, you can, but it
yeah,
doesn't have to be.
let's go with roll call.
Krakow,
Yes.
Reinig,
Yes.
Franklin,
Yes.
Blackwood,
Yes.
Hollenbeck,
Yes.
McNally.
Yes. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to approach our financial institution, Badger Bank. We had originally authorized $300,000, but it has been reduced to $200,000. We need to vote on it formally tomorrow night. They need to get this prepared, and it will be a special meeting with that item only.
What time?
And the budget. We
And
can't
the
pass
budget.
the
Well, the
budget
budget.
today.
And we have to
Yeah,
pass the
has
budget.
to be.
And the
Yeah, so
budget.
those two items will be on the
Okay.
agenda.
All right.
And can we have no public comments?
5:30?
If we can.
Yeah, we don't have to.
You know, in light of where we're at, no public comment, because otherwise
you.
this is going to go on. I mean, we're making an effort, and Chuck, thank you. You dropped this from 3 to 200,000.
That's great. I mean, we were asking for input, so that's fantastic. Thank you.
Okay. We'll have a meeting, but there will not be public comment. So,
What time can people
Uh,
make it? Can we do earlier? Do we have to wait till 6:30?
Earlier the better.
I can do as
I can
early
do
as
6.
4 o'clock tomorrow.
I can do whenever, Lisa. If you need to do it at 2 in the afternoon, I'll leave work.
Yep, same here. I
I'm
can be here
just-
whatever time, however early. How early could we do?
I can
What
do
time do you get
4.
off work?
11 a.m. Can I sleep for a couple hours?
Oh,
You do 4?
or
4? 3 or 4?
I can do
Four?
4.
Three or
I
four?
could work.
4?
4 o'clock?
I
4
might be
o'clock
able
work?
to make
Chuck,
it.
Does
4
4 work for
o'clock?
you?
You gotta go.
All right.
Brian, can you make 4 work?
I'm gonna check. 5 I can sure make. Let me check 4.
Please, Brian.
Yeah, we can do it.
Okay, 4 o'clock.
4
We're going to
o'clock
meet
tomorrow.
tomorrow
Some
night.
vendor can just sit on it tomorrow.
All right. Yes, it'll be here. Okay, that took care of item B under new business.
Did we do roll call?
Yeah.
We did? Okay.
Yep.
You remember? Oh, yes, I remember now saying.
Okay.
Yes, I'm good now.
Okay, now we're going to go on to Resolution 2024-12 related to the 2025 budget.
We need to table that for tomorrow.
All right. Anything else? Okay. All right, we're going to table that.
Do we want to talk about these 2 items?
Oh, the garland and the
Yeah.
flower.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
is that part of the budget?
Yeah.
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 So, like I said, Public Works is short-staffed. Lee's going to be out for 3 weeks for medical leave.
6 weeks.
6 weeks, sorry. So like I said, what they need is a LT worker with a CDL for the help for the plowing, and then help in the summer for painting streets. So I know we're going to look at Public Works wages, and we're going to have to put in $10,000 for to have that support, just to keep everything safe and keep the streets plowed this winter, and so they're safe this summer when they're painting. I know there's some local individuals that can that have reached out with the CDL that can help us out. So we'll be reaching out to them. So that's where we're at for public works stuff. Do you have anything else on that?
Is personnel going to review who that part-time staff is?
Yes, I assume so.
Yeah?
What?
Personnel review who the part-time staff is going to be that would be hired?
Yes.
Okay.
And then for the holiday lights and all that stuff, so
We would need a motion for
Oh.
the LTE.
okay.
All right, somebody want to make a motion?
What does LTE stand for?
Limited
Limited
time.
term.
Limited time.
Yeah.
Limited
Limited
term
as
of
needed.
employment.
So I'll make a motion to, what would it be, to hire an LT worker with the CDL for Public Works, not to exceed $10,000 for the 2025 budget.
I'll second.
All right, we got a motion, and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, carries. What else do you have there, Chuck?
And then, so the collaboration of 523, like this, they volunteered to purchase the flowers. We can speak to them about getting them from Evan Gardner. They want to use our flower pots. I don't, no issue with that. They would like us to water the flowers, talk to Public Works, and they're okay with that. And they want us to continue putting up the lights in Garland, and that's already been completed.
No, for next year.
Oh, I'm sorry, for next year, right.
It's for 2025.
2020,
Yeah.
yes, 2025. They're pretty efficient at it. It's safer for them to do it than to have the business owners going out there.
For sure.
So that's the recommendation from Public Works. And what you're saying for you want to go out for a grant?
Well,
For a foundation grant?
I was going to suggest instead of having, because every year we say, well, what are we going to have what are we going to ask the foundation for?
I like the idea of the foundation contributing money for flowers and garland for the simple reason that I don't want, how do I say this delicately? I don't want business owners dictating what our public works folks do.
Yeah.
Not so delicate, but, and I've seen this happen personally when it comes to Christmas lights and garland and whatnot. So I like the idea of going out, asking the foundation. They like brick and mortar kind of purchases. I think this would be something that they would look at. And if, as a fallback plan, the Friends of Cambridge donation situation, but I appreciate what the 536?
523.
523 is asking to do, but I don't want to be at the mercy of the business owners when it comes to, hey, has this been watered? Hey, has this been taken care of? Hey, I would like to keep that in the Public Works realm.
If our Public Works people are going to be putting up and putting down, I would agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we should not have residents going up and watering these plants, and our guys have the equipment, they pull it with the gator, and they have the right solution.
If they wanted to help us with the fundraising, I mean, if the foundation grant would fall through, if they wanted to help us with fundraising, great. That'd be fantastic.
More of a backup plan?
Yeah, as a backup plan.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good with that.
All right,
All right.
so.
So no action on 8C2.
Okay. All right, you're okay with that, Chuck?
Yeah.
Good. All right, so that should take care of those items. Let's move on to item 8D. Treasurer, Deputy Clerk, Administrator position, Personnel Committee. I think this is you. isn't
Oh,
it?
yes, it is me.
Yes.
Sorry.
Chris?
So we had a lovely interview at the Personnel meeting the other night. Did I get it right?
It was joint too, so it
Oh,
was
you're right,
both
it was.
committees.
Yeah, we're on both
Sorry.
committees, so yeah.
And we were all in agreement that we would like to make the recommendation to the board for, do I say her name? I don't know if I say her name out loud.
The position.
The position, to fill the position. I thought she will bring a lot to the table. She has different experiences that can kind of be Lisa's yin and yang. And we decided that was our recommendation.
Good.
Chuck, do you recall anything else out of the?
Yeah, I was very impressed with her. And brings a lot to the table. She's experienced with workhorse, great
That's
personality. She's going to fit in really good with the village employees and everyone, and the public works guy and everyone. She's getting her bachelor's degree, going out for a master's next year, so she's got a lot to bring in that department with new ideas. Very organized, fast learner. There's a lot of good experience out in Sun Prairie. And Marshall.
Excellent.
And she's big on SOPs, and I think would be great for us. So I'd highly recommend hiring her. And what did she want, 2 weeks?
Yeah, she only had to give 2 weeks notice.
So she could start pretty soon then? Okay.
Mid-December?
Before the
Cool.
end of the year.
That'd be fantastic.
I think she even disclosed that she would normally give 4 weeks if she had responsibilities, but
Yeah.
2 weeks is what she
Supervisory responsibilities. She does have responsibilities.
Yeah. I thought she was really, she was a standout.
Yeah.
I can see her fitting in here very nicely. Okay, so there's.
I don't know. I want to hear Lisa's opinion.
I was very impressed with her.
Because you got to work with her.
Yeah. Like Kristen said, the yin to my yang, different work styles, different, but personality-wise, very outgoing, very what we thought would be a half-hour interview as an hour interview.
Wow.
Just brought a lot to the table, shared a lot, what her goals, and I think she'd be a very good fit.
As far as salary, what we think, $62,500 to start, right in the middle.
Yeah.
And then talked a $500 increase after 6 months.
Yeah. She's gonna be good.
Okay. Anybody want to make a motion? All right.
Can I see her name?
I know. I was like,
Just the position.
You can, or the position, yeah, with the interview, either way. I'll call her first thing tomorrow morning, so.
I'll make a motion to hire the new treasurer, deputy clerk, deputy administrator for the recommendation for the personnel committee, starting at a salary of $62,500, $500 increase at 6 months.
I will second.
Okay. Further discussion? This is money. Do we need roll call or just a voice vote?
A voice vote.
All right. Okay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Okay, unfinished business. We're going to start with the Dancing Goat Sampling Plan. This is yours, Paula.
Yep, the Water and Sewer Committee has come up with a plan for Dancing Goat doing their sampling. It was included in the packet. I don't know if anybody has any questions on that. The recommendation from the Water and Sewer Committee is for the board to approve the sampling plan going forward. It's taken us 18 months to get to this point, but it was a really, really good discussion that we had among COWC as well as Dancing Goat and then the Water and Sewer Board. So I think we're all happy with the final conclusion here.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the Dancing Goat sampling plan.
I'll second.
Okay. Questions? All right. We've got a motion and a second. All those in favor of approval of the Dancing Goat Sampling Plan, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. All right. Fire Commission update. Chris?
I mentioned earlier that I have a mediation with the union on December 11th with the Fire Commission President Schrader. As for a Fire Commission meeting, I have yet to see an agenda. I would imagine that we're going to be having some budget discussions here fairly soon, but I have not seen any agenda. I have asked for a meeting, but.
Okay. Questions for Chris? Kristen, anything that you can think of?
Nope.
Okay. All
I
right.
will make note, arbitration letters had to be in yesterday. We have nothing, so we won't need the closed session. But in the coming month, we may need special board meetings depending on the timing, because that will be kind of not in our control either, so.
Oh, so we don't need the closed session tonight?
No.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. That takes us up to correspondence, and I don't see any. So referrals and questions, staff, future agenda items. Got room tax, bike trail, Amundsen flooring, ongoing projects, foundation grant.
Can you add for foundation grant also seasonal, downtown seasonal decorations?
Beautification.
Beautification, that's what the word I used, yes.
Yep.
Downtown
Beautification.
seasonal beautification.
Yep.
And so anybody, if you have ideas, suggestions for the foundation grant, we'll be making that determination at the next meeting. Public Works did talk about some improvements to Westside Park as well for a foundation grant request.
Okay.
And following that, the Amundsen flooring, we do have one quote. Serginians will honor their quote from a while back, and I should have another quote before our next meeting so that we can get that finalized before the end of this year and get the flooring scheduled. We had received a grant this year from the foundation for that.
I had given Mike an update on this as far as where we were at. So
He had emailed me. I had given him an update.
Item G here, sending out accounts payable in December.
So that goes in with us canceling the last meeting.
It's this, who's going to sign checks?
To enable us to still cut checks that need to be cut by year end.
All right. Anything else? Anybody? Okay, and then we've got upcoming meetings. December 3rd, Economic Development. 9th is Planning Commission. 10th is the Village Board. The December 11th is Library Board. December 17th is Water and Sewer, and we are having a special meeting on November 27th at 4 p.m. To cover our budget and our loan. Anything else? Okay, we are not going to be going into closed session, correct?
Nope.
All right, so that gets us right out.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
I second.
All right. Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Carries. Meeting is closed. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving.
I got work
You
nights more
have a wonderful evening.
We get done.